What's going on, guys? Episode 16 of Beyond the Finish Line podcast. I'm here with Georgia. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. How are you, Matt?
Yeah, since a couple of hours ago, pretty great.
Yes, we are recording twice in a few hours because as I've banged on for probably 6 episodes now, I'm going on my honeymoon.
Yeah, Georgia's more committed to her marriage than our podcast, which I'm deeply offended by.
Look, I'm sorry. I'm just not lugging all this recording equipment all the way over to Italy and to Greece.
All this recording equipment, you need a laptop and a microphone. You don't even need a microphone. You could do it on AirPods.
No, I want a really smooth, crisp audio for our listeners. And all of the trauma I go through at the start of every episode is so that you guys can have a nice experience when you're listening, wherever you are. So, sorry, we have to do this.
It's all right. We've probably earned a little bit of a break as well, so I'm not mad about it.
To be honest, we have been doing these recordings since, October, November last year we started doing them?
December.
There you go. So I think you're right. We do. Let's just call it a little, little break. Maybe we need to call this season 1.
I don't know about you. I'm not a big fan of podcasts that go in seasons.
No, look, to be honest, I don't really get it because I'm like, it means nothing to me. It just means you had a break and then you started doing it again.
Yeah. So you had 15 ideas or 20 ideas and then you ran out and then you needed time to come up with more ideas.
Savage. I get it though. I know what you mean. I am very happy.
The only excuse I give is like for an interview show, like if you're just strictly interviewing people, like because it is hard to line up people and there's cancellations and all that sort of stuff. Because that's like what my other podcast is, and that's super inconsistent. I'm actually going away from interviewing because it's just so much work.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you? Sorry, I haven't actually listened to your podcast.
Well, you're not the demographic.
No, I'm not.
It's triathlon.
Yeah, and that's why I haven't listened. But is it just you interviewing people, or do you do sometimes just yourself, or how's it work?
I've done a couple just myself, where it might be just like a training breakdown or like a race review, but normally it's a pretty nerdy triathlon training kind of podcast, like we're breaking down like lactate levels and things like that. So it's a very niche audience.
There's no dead air on that podcast, is there?
No, there is. It's going to be like, what do you think about X? And then they're like, huh.
Stop it.
And
no.
and then we'll go into it.
I can't even let you just even try to explain what the dead air is like. I'm like, I'm not even going to let this happen.
Yeah. But it's a very different podcast to this.
Yes, yeah. It's cool though. It's good you get to do both. You get to have a bit of fun over here, and not that you don't have fun on your other podcast, but it's just different.
Yeah, just different. Like I said, we're actually changing it. We're going to more of this style of format and then the interviews will just be like when they happen, they're going to happen a bit more organically rather than having to have a new person every week with something to talk about. Yeah,
you'd probably run out of people after a certain point.
Well, and I don't want to say I pigeonholed myself, but I was very deliberate in I wanted to support like Australian triathlon, the Australian triathlon community. There's a couple of big Australian podcasts and they only interview international guests, which I really don't like. So like my whole thing was like, if I'm going to do it, I want to try and build up triathlon in Australia. So there is only a limited number of people when you take an already niche sport and make it more niche based on location.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But, got to do what you got to do.
That's it, yeah.
I think, as you said, going from just having chats or even just you talking on your own or having a chat with a friend or your coach or whatever, and then jumping into some interview style will probably be a lot better and you'll get more episodes out of it in the long term.
Yeah, let's call it the chatting with a friend podcast, like a consistent co-host type thing. That's going to be like the main format, similar to what we do. And then, like I said, just like bonus episodes will be an interview style episode.
Yeah, and this is such a good format because, we bounce off each other and, if I need time to think, you can chat. And when you want to give dead air, I can chat.
It's
if you guys haven't noticed, I just giggle when I'm nervous. So there's a lot of giggling going on. Like now.
Yeah. But there's also like a chemistry and like you and I have done 16 podcasts together. Like there is a certain level of rhythm and comfort that we fall into. But when you've got a new guest every week, I've got to build that comfort. I've got to make them comfortable within the conversation. Sometimes I've only met them 5 minutes before we started recording, and we might have shared 1 or 2 Instagram messages before to organize it. So it is a lot of work doing that. It's very mentally taxing. It's a lot harder than this podcast.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. You get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I'd ask you how your week was, but nothing's happened.
I've run some hills since the last episode.
Oh, what did you just do? Just up and down a hill, or you had a set session, or tell us about it?
Yeah, just ran up and down on my own. Yeah, that's it.
I was just imagining you running up and down past the cows, and they're like, "What's this dude doing?"
No, I think I had like 10 rounds of threshold hill runs, but just something to turn the legs over, strengthen them up.
Okay, good question. I was talking to some friends today about hill sessions. How does someone do a hill session? Like, could you give us a little hill session some people can do?
It depends on like what they're trying to do.
Come on, Matt. Just give us a generic one. Surely. No. 1, 2, just improve overall fitness. Surely? Nothing?
But like you would not give hill runs to someone who doesn't have conditioned legs, for example, because the risk of injury becomes like quite high.
Oh, okay.
That's why that's because like the load and the angle of your knee, hip, and ankle is different, and when you're trying to put a certain amount of force through it on that angle, depending on the gradient of the hill, that's like increases risk of injury. So it's like you can't just say go run up and down a hill.
Damn it.
I would say, and also it also depends on like what you're trying to achieve. Are you training for a trail run, or are you training for like the Hills and Sydney Marathon? Because then that's like 2 very different approaches.
Okay, I get you. What about someone doing, are you familiar with City to Surf?
Yep.
Yeah, say for someone doing City to Surf, you've got Heartbreak Hill, and then there's a couple of hills after that. If they want to do, because I get people ask me all the time, like, do I need to do hill sessions, hills pay the bills? How does someone go about doing a hill session if they don't, if they've never done one? Should they obviously follow a program, or is it just like doing an interval session but doing them up a hill? Because I get them from you, but I just do them. I don't actually.
Yeah, I would say for the majority of people, they do not need to do a specific hill session.
Okay.
I would just incorporate hills into like your long run, like rolling hills.
Okay, cool. That's kind of what I was trying to get at. That's perfect. Yeah. So you don't need to specifically go out and do like a session just running up and down a hill.
No. If you were an elite runner trying to win City to Surf or set a certain time in City to Surf, different answer, then you would do specific hill sessions. But like for the generic person who was like, I just want to finish City to Surf, or I've heard Sydney Marathon is hilly, just incorporate rolling hills into your long run and you'll be fine.
Perfect. Very good. Don't do this to me, Matt. I'm losing every last little bit of patience I have before I get on this flight in the morning, and it's the afternoon.
Georgia lost her shit earlier because she couldn't get her fucking microphone to work.
Not this episode, last episode.
No,
this
last
episode.
Well,
we
turned
it
today.
on. Yes.
Earlier today.
This episode, I turned it on and it worked straight away. So, that's right.
Every time we go through this, I just think of that SpongeBob meme. And it's like one eternity later.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, we're getting a bit crazy. Matt, why don't you run us through what we're going to talk about today?
Well, I actually had a question for you, Georgia, because I've seen this come through in the DMs, and I had a really interesting conversation with one of our listeners, and I thought it was worth bringing up.
Oh, okay. Love it. Hit me.
Would you consider yourself an athlete?
No.
Why?
Straight. No, I think in my mind, an athlete is like an elite athlete. And I don't know whether or not I just see people on socials being like, I'm a hybrid athlete, and I'm a little bit like, oh, I wouldn't even consider myself an athlete. I think, long story short, no, I probably wouldn't consider myself an athlete. If someone asked me, I would say I'm just a recreational runner.
Interesting. I would argue the latter.
That I'm a recreational runner?
No, that you're an athlete.
Oh. Yeah, I guess depends on what you define as an athlete, right? I think.
Interesting. Well, tell me what what you think the definition of an athlete is.
I think someone who. It's funny, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to go, oh no, wait, is that me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Someone who consistently shows up, trains pretty much every day, works hard towards a goal. But see, in my mind, an athlete is someone who's really good at what they do.
See, now you remember how we spoke the other episode about being very, very clear on language, and like I said strength athlete, you thought someone who was bulky.
Yeah.
We said easy run, and we both had two different definitions. So
yeah.
I said athlete, and then you've instantly thought elite athlete, Olympian, professional athlete, which are very different things.
Yeah. That's probably where I would put an athlete. Or, I mean, someone who is in kind of more of the elite field at a big race. Like, you know, in City to Surf, they're in that elite field for, say, City to Surf. Not necessarily the elite field of London Marathon, but an elite field of a local kind of race. To me, that is an athlete, not me chilling at Midway. How about you? I know you'd consider yourself an athlete, because in my mind, you are an athlete because you're, like, you do this full time.
I do consider myself an athlete, but I do not consider myself an athlete for the reasons that you just listed.
Okay, why do you consider yourself an athlete, Matt?
I think the definition of athlete is someone who attempts... I'm trying to think about this as concisely as possible.
Okay,
I think
sure.
Athlete is more of a mindset rather than what you're physically capable of. I think an athlete goes towards a goal, has a performance-based goal, and then lists some of the characteristics that you just said. Turns up every day, trains hard, has a growth mindset towards a goal, like understands that there is a journey that they must go on, and they are constantly working towards it. I do not think an athlete is defined by you need to run a 2:30 marathon or a sub 8 hour Ironman or insert whatever metric. I think it is how you approach a thought process towards a goal. I think that is what an athlete is. And then you can define the level of athlete with elite, professional, Olympian, whatever after that.
Okay. That's so interesting. I think in my mind, I get so stuck on the word because I don't want to seem, I guess it's that is it tall poppy syndrome where
tall poppy syndrome, yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't want to come across like I think I'm this amazing, incredible person. I don't want people to think like I'm big noting myself, I guess. But then again, like if you said it, I wouldn't think that you were saying that because I'd believe it. So I don't know. Yeah. Maybe someone else looks at me as an athlete if they're just a beginner runner. Maybe that's it.
100%
Maybe it's
they do.
Depending on where on the journey you are.
I think, and I really, one of the key things that I say about the performance project is like we turn everyday people into endurance athletes. And that does not mean I can turn a mum of 3 into a sub 3 hour marathon runner. That means I can teach her how to think about goal setting and how to approach goals and consistency and building and having a growth mindset, knowing that just because you start here, that does not mean you are there forever. That means you will progress, you will get better as long as you keep doing A, B, C, D, E, and you tick those boxes day in, day out. I truly believe like that is what you would define an athlete as. Again, then within athlete, there are obviously multiple different categories, but I'm not saying the mum of 3 is the same as Eliud Kipchoge. Like,
yes,
I am saying, I am.
So you're kind of saying more have an athlete mindset as opposed to being an elite athlete. You've got the mindset of an athlete, and that's what matters.
I think if you have the mindset of an athlete, you deserve to call yourself an athlete. I'm not saying you're calling yourself a professional. I'm not saying you're calling yourself an Olympian. I'm not saying you need to compare yourself to those people.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, if you approach the things the way an athlete approaches them, then by definition, you are an athlete.
Okay, so interesting how just the word athlete comes with so many different meanings. And I think in my head, I'm like, I'm still going, if I called myself an athlete, are people going to think I'm a wanker? And I'm not saying that I think other people are wankers. I just think about myself purely.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Because I see, as I said, I would see you saying that and I'd be like, yeah, cool, makes sense. Or, other people that I follow on socials. But then again, I'm like, does it get thrown around too much? Or do you think more people are athletes than what we think?
I think more people think they're higher level athletes than they think.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I think a lot of people think like they put hybrid athlete in their bio and they're like, I'm basically a CrossFit Games athlete or I am a High Rocks athlete or whatever. I think people would be shocked, and this is one of the things about my other podcast is I get a sort of a little peek behind the curtain of like elite triathlons, of triathletes, excuse me, and like those people are not normal. Like,
right.
They are genetically blessed in. So like my good mate of mine became a good mate of mine for the podcast, Matt Burton.
Okay.
His very first Ironman on a bike that was 2 sizes too small for him on 6 months training. Never done a triathlon before, hadn't swum before that. He was a cricket player. Broke 10. He went like 9:40, right?
Does that frustrate you?
If you look at it from like 30,000 feet, yeah. But then when you like get to know him and like just like he is just built for, he's arguably in the top 3 cyclists in the sport. Like he is just those people, when they find their sport, everything just clicks and then it's like, oh, like within 2 years he was a pro, like one Kona for age group and things like that. Like, like no amount of training I do, no athlete mindset, like I'll never be able to compete with that.
Yeah. So I can relate to that. Like I remember when I was first training for Sydney Marathon, I knew this girl who was doing her first marathon as well and just, built like a whippet, just strong, don't get me wrong. She was in the gym, working her butt off. She was doing all the long runs, all that kind of stuff, had a coach, whatever. But her first marathon, she broke sub 3:30. And I was just like, holy shit, you're just built different. Yep. And I think that is sometimes really hard to get your head around, is that some people are just built different.
Yeah, 100%. And
some people are built like me to, not run, but learn how to run.
Yeah, and I strongly believe that someone like you or that this person I was speaking to in the DMs, like, just because you cannot run a 3:30 marathon does not mean you are not an athlete. You are just on a different level. Like you are approaching it with the same discipline, the same work ethic, the same processes that a professional athlete does. But your results are different. That does, like, if we're actually defining words, I think realistically, if you approach things that way, like you should consider yourself an athlete and you should hold yourself to a certain standard within that. Yeah,
I guess it's like you don't always have to be an elite to be an athlete, right? And you need just to have that that athlete mindset. That's kind of all that matters, right? As long as you're training and you're showing up. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a reason, like every time you've said athlete, I don't know if you've noticed this, but you've said elite in front of it. Straight, there are categories within categories, like I would not consider a lot of people who partake in marathons necessarily athletes because they haven't followed a process. They haven't been consistent with training. That the people I'm talking about who just rock up on the day. They're like, I trained for 8 weeks and I showed up today. And training for them is like I went for a run every Sunday.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I would not put them in the same, even if they ran a quick, let's just say that hypothetically they ran 3:45. I would still consider you an athlete over that person.
That's very kind. Yeah, I think it's just one of those things that you just have to learn to wrap your head around it. And I think I'm still in that stage where I'm wrapping my head around it.
It's something I've thought about. It was one of the driving forces of why I started the performance project. Was I was just like, I had so many people when I finished my first Ironman say I could never do that.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, 6 years ago, I was living under a bridge in London, snorting coke. Like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Like,
Right.
you just need to change your mindset about how you approach it. And like, when I decided I'd have a growth mindset, and I decided I'd get sober, and I decided I would start doing these things, like, I just ticked them off and got better and better and better and better. And I was like, oh, if you met Matt fucking back then in London, you would be like, he is not an athlete. He does not have an athletic bone in his body. But in that short period of time, now most people would consider I am an athlete. Like,
Yeah.
and I think it's the same. I think it's the same for everyone. It's like just where you put your resources and your time and your mindset.
So just going back to that growth mindset, how would someone, start to have a growth like how do you develop a growth mindset? Is it just you either got it or you don't?
No, I definitely don't think it's that.
Okay, yeah.
I just had to learn what a growth mindset was at first. So like, I think I did a lot of like the self-development podcasts, a lot of reading, all that sort of stuff. There's some really good like podcasts on YouTube, like Tom Bilyeu's and stuff, where they talk about growth mindset. But once I realized, and this is going to sound really dumb, but up until about 21, 22, maybe even a little bit older, I thought like you were either good at something or you weren't. Like that, they were just the cards you dealt.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. And once I sort of realized, I was like, oh, even if you're dead awful at something and you just decide to turn up every day and work at it and just get a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better, all of a sudden, or that 10-year overnight success, you get really, really good at something. I've been
it'd be like learning an instrument, right? Like you're
100%.
Yeah, you start and you might be really shit, but you watch a few YouTube tutorials or you listen to an audiobook and then
and then you can play Smoke on the Water, then you can play a couple of chords, and then all of a sudden, you're playing a song. It's exact same thing.
Yeah. Okay. What were you going to say?
Can't remember. Doesn't matter. If it's important, it'll come back to me.
Okay, cool. So if, like say for me, like let's use me as an example, how can I improve that whole growth mindset so that I do see myself more as an athlete?
I don't know necessarily if...
Or you just have to want it?
I don't know necessarily if I can make you think you're an athlete. All I can show you is that your actions are the same as or indicate that you are. Like, Georgia trained 6 days per week. Georgia got 8 hours of sleep. Georgia tracked her macros. And I'm just listing like random attributes. Georgia didn't drink for the 12 weeks of marathon prep. Georgia tested her nutrition and got it dialed in. Georgia did sweat testing. Georgia did A, B, C, D, continuous. But they are all actions that someone who cares about performance and wants to get better and is willing to go the extra mile to improve does.
Yeah. And that's where it comes back to that growth mindset, is that you want to start implementing those things.
Yeah. Someone who does not have a growth mindset would not think, you know what, like, are the Asics Metaspeed Sky Edge or Sky the best shoe? Like, I'm going to test both of them. Or someone for growth mindset would not go, I wonder if my heart rate monitor on my watch is the most accurate. Like, maybe I could go to a chest strap. Is like, will I get better data from that? And like, even just having those thoughts, you don't even need to act on it, but just having those thoughts and thinking about it is like steps towards a growth mindset. It's like, how do I just get the most out of things?
Okay, that's cool. I like that. I'm trying to think in other ways that kind of our audience can, I guess, have that kind of growth mindset or that athlete mindset. Yeah. Do you think everyone who's training hard should think like an athlete, or do you think you don't always have to think like an athlete?
Think like an athlete or think they are an athlete?
Both, I guess. I mean, because if you think you are an athlete, you're thinking like an athlete, surely.
Yeah. I would say only think, like, I don't think I am an athlete, like when I'm training and things like that. Like I don't have that thought process.
Right.
Like I don't sit down on the bike and go, okay, I'm an athlete, I'm going to hit this session. So I would say I would only if that thought process serves you, if that makes you better, if that gives you confidence, if that builds you up, and you're like, I'm an athlete, I can do this, then sure, think that. Everyone's different in terms of that. What was the other part of the question?
Just how, like, should everyone think that they're an athlete, or do you think it's only reserved for those who have those kind of goals?
I think if you think you're an athlete, or you think you have an athlete mindset and you are not doing the actions that marry up with that, it'll do more damage than good.
Okay. I think, yeah, just for those that want to be quote unquote better, or to be more like an athlete or be an athlete, some kind of things that you could do would be, I don't know, things even like you think I'm an athlete. I'm going to hopefully get there one day. But some of the things that like I do is like I set a big goal, and my big goal is, as we've talked about before, is things that scare me, things that aren't easily achievable, things like that.
Things you have to work towards.
Yeah, and I think that comes hand in hand with being an athlete, is having a big goal that's hard, and so like kind of ticking those sorts of things off. I think a good one is like reflecting after a hard session and how you can improve yourself. And like you said before, you were listening to podcasts and you were doing things to try and improve yourself. I think, even after just like a long run, be like, okay, how did I go? How can I improve? What can I do better?
Yep. That's exactly what a growth mindset is.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just kind of, as we're talking, reflecting on that whole growth mindset. And I think also good things is also saying, I can do hard things.
Yep.
Strong is better than perfect. Like I don't have to be perfect to be an athlete, or I don't have to be elite to be an athlete.
Absolutely.
I can just be an athlete without having to be on the elite start line.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, perfect. Anything you want to add to that, Matt?
Probably not for this episode. I think that's enough for people to sort of wrap their head around. I'm sure we'll revisit this at some point in the future. But I just think that people should not be so hard on themselves and think that athlete is reserved just for the elite. I think if people look at the actions of athletes and then implement them into their lives to get better, they should consider themselves an athlete.
Yeah. And if you just want to improve yourself, then maybe go check out your favorite athletes, see what they're doing. Are they, doing things to better themselves? Maybe there's some things you can implement into your own life.
100%. Like, I bet your favorite athlete isn't going out on a Saturday night before their long run. Like just I bet if you just watch their social media, you would learn a lot.
That's true. Yeah, definitely. Now we had I think we spoke about in the last episode about how we asked you guys, some things you wanted to hear from us, and one of the things is really interesting, and I want to play a game with you, Matt. So.
Go for it.
A listener has asked, I want to know what things in the running world are hyped and things that are overhyped. So I'm going to list some things, and then we're both going to say whether we think it's like useful or whether we think it's overhyped.
Do we get to give context, or is it just yes or no?
Of course you can. Go for it. You can waffle on as much as you want, Matt. It's your podcast.
Fantastic.
Do whatever you want.
Okay.
So I'm going to start off strong with race day shoes, aka, could be your Metaspeeds, could be a pair of Alpha Flies.
It's a carbon-plated shoes.
Carbon-plated shoes. Do you think they're...
Yeah. Love them.
Love them. Same. Love them. Love them. Used in the right situation. Obviously reserved for those really hard sessions or race day.
And if you can run sort of a certain speed, but
yeah.
If you're knocking out 8-minute Ks, then just stick with your comfy shoes.
So this is something actually at the moment I'm kind of tossing. I'm literally packing my bag as, this day goes on.
You do not need to wear your carbon-plated shoes for London.
I know. Don't worry. I'm not. I'm wearing my Nova Glass. But I said to Nick last night, I was like, I'm so sad. I really want to wear my carbon-plated shoes because they're so pretty. And he was like, no, you don't need to wear them. I was like, I know. I just want to.
You'll probably break your foot.
I know. I'm not actually going to wear them. But it is so unfair that race day shoes always look so much better.
Yeah, they always have the best colorways. I was very, very fortunate, and Asics just literally sent me a pair of shoes this week, and I got them out of the box. And I was like, oh, they're so pretty.
Yeah, they are. They're really cool.
Yeah.
Super cushioned shoes, like max cushioned shoes, running shoes.
I'm like 80, 90%, yeah.
Okay, see, I'm like 100%. Love that shit.
I think like there are a couple of shoes where they've gone over.
Oh, like what?
I can't think of the brand. A Jog On Crago has done a couple of them, and I've just looked at them, and he sort of had the same thing. He's like, oh, you can't really do anything in them. Like they're too soft.
Okay. A bit like those Brooks ones that they released that were like hella cushioned.
Yeah, so I'd say like 90 to... I'll go 90 to 95% yes.
I actually listened to a TikTok the other day that was very interesting, which I didn't know, so... Maybe this will help you guys because I'm sure there's more people out there that thought this. I didn't realize, you know how they say the heel drop on a pair of shoes? I kind of understood it, but I didn't. So the heel drop is where you take how high the front of the toe is to how high the back is, and then you minus it, and then the drop is the difference in both of them, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you're out running, the reason why you need to swap your shoes around and change up your shoes is because it's like running, like, when you're at the gym and you're doing squats and you put like a block behind your feet so you elevate your feet a bit. I didn't even think that when you're running in a really cushioned shoe with a higher heel drop, as opposed to say a shoe with a less of a heel drop, that it's like running with a block under your foot, like you're elevating your calf muscles more. Is that right?
Basically.
Yeah, that really made me shift my perspective on my shoes and go, okay, I need to make sure that I'm not wearing shoes constantly that have a really big heel drop and I'm actually wearing different kinds all the time.
Yeah, and the other part of that is like shoes that have a large amount of foam, they take like 48 hours to decompress. So having multiple shoes with a good amount of foam is important and rotating them. Okay,
amazing. This one's a quick one. Running specific socks as opposed to just cotton socks.
Dumb. Super dumb.
Really?
Super dumb.
What do you mean?
Dumb.
You just out there just repping a pair of like random Bond socks.
Yeah, I wear Bond's ankle socks.
Oh my God.
For
the
every Ironman,
Gen Z
every
are dying
marathon,
inside.
every run. No, not interested.
Oh my God.
Fuck your $30 socks off. I will wear $3 Kmart socks on a run and I won't notice the difference. I've been sent super expensive socks and I tell you what, I do not notice the difference at all. They're like, they're more aerodynamic. They wick sweat. I'm like, fuck off, idiot.
You can see my face. I'm so shook right now. I live.
So stupid. Dumb.
I'm sorry. I live in either. I've got 3 different shut up. I've got 3 different pairs of socks. I have Lululemon ones, I have LSKD ones, and I have Asics specific socks, and they're all that really nice fabric, and I live in them.
Dumb.
So good. Whatever. We're moving on because Matt's being a pain in the ass.
Save your money.
Running vests with water in them, so like a Salomon running vest, hydration, that kind of thing.
Yeah, love them. Use it all the time.
Yeah, okay. When I first got mine, it was kind of, I just started out long runs, so I actually loved it. Really used it all the time. I don't use it as much now, but there was all this kind of drama.
I think it's really good for beginner runners, especially like when they're freaking out, like where am I going to get a drink? How do I carry?
Yeah.
Like shout out Mel and Taylor. I know they get a lot of reps on this podcast.
I know.
For their
they really do.
their first half marathon on the Gold Coast last year, they packed for a small holiday for their half marathon.
I did that for Sydney Marathon first time round.
Yeah.
I packed everything.
Yeah. But it's so interesting now where like I can't even get them to take like a small soft flask with them. Like, nah, we'll work it out. So
Yeah,
I think it's great for beginner runners, and then obviously like trail running and things like that where you actually do need resources.
Yes.
But I think they're great. Love them.
Yeah, wear them wherever you want. Wear it on a 2K
Yep.
if you want. Wear it on a 10K. Wear it on a marathon.
Yep.
Could not give a shit. Do what you want.
100%. Yep.
Garmin Watch versus Apple Watch.
I think if you are taking your training a little bit more seriously and actually care about the data,
Yeah.
Garmin is more valuable. If you were just there to log Ks and you never look at like a Strava or a Training Peaks or whatever, Apple Watch is fine.
Yeah, I started out with an Apple Watch, but then I found that it wouldn't last the distance for a half marathon. So
battery's a big one for the Apple Watch. But
yeah, my Garmin lasts like 10 days.
Yeah, Garmin's the answer.
Okay, amazing. Moving on, massage guns.
Love.
Love, same. Although I was at the physio the other day and he was using the massage gun on the back of my hamstrings, and I'm so ticklish. I was like, God, stop. He was like, I'm so sorry. I'm just so ticklish there. It was weird.
Yeah, I don't think that they're not as effective as people think they are. People think they get back from a run, they just use the old massage gun on them and they'll be right as rain. I tend to use mine when I'm a little bit sore in the morning just to get like blood to the top of the muscle and start that recovery process.
Yeah, I get that. I use mine too. I have this tiny one from Peak.
Peak Active.
Peak Active. Thank you. They changed their name. And it is so powerful. I love that little thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, cool. I think the same will go with a foam roller. We both love a foam roller, surely.
Yep. Love a foam roller.
Compression boots. Now, you have a pair of compression boots. I don't.
do.
I wish I had a pair.
Shout out Endurance Recovery boots. They're the best in the game.
Can they send me some? Like, oh my God.
I can get you a pair.
I would die for a pair. Oh my God, it'd be so good.
Yeah. So I have a lot of experience with these, and I've tested them out in a whole bunch of different ways because I thought that originally I said no to getting them because Endurance sent me a pair absolutely free, which is unreal. But I was like, oh, how much do they actually work right? Like, it's just compression.
No.
So
good.
yes, but this is how in my experience, this is how I think they work best. You cannot use them just individually. Like after a long run, put them on and then you don't use them again for the rest of the week. I think they need to be used as a compounding effect. So I use mine every single night for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to solve all your problems in one go. It just moves the lactic acid around, right?
Metabolic waste, but yeah, which is the byproduct of lactate.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah.
But so
I've
many
used them
people
before.
do a super hard training session, run a marathon, whatever, and then like the next day they go and use the boots and then they don't use them again. Obviously because they don't own them because they're expensive. But like if you own a pair, you need to use them day in, day out to get the real benefits of them. If like they're $1,000 a pair, like they're not giving them away. But
no.
If you want to get your money's worth and actually have them benefit your training, you need to use them consistently.
That's like really interesting. I didn't realize that. 4 or 5 times
a week. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to use them like 3 times a week when my gym had them. So I'd use them after every gym session. They were good. In the same kind of breath, ice baths.
Yeah. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, same. And look, I just want to say, like, I think I see women using ice baths and they're using them and they're like, oh, it's 5 degrees. It's actually not, from what I've read online. And please, obviously, I'm not a doctor or anything, but I've heard that for women, you actually need to have it a bit warmer because our bodies don't cope as well with freezing cold temperatures like men's bodies do.
Yeah, I don't know much about the difference between men and women in terms of ice baths. I haven't done any research in that. I will
Yeah.
say a lot of people jump straight into an ice bath as soon as they finish training, which is not what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You want to sort of leave 2 to 4 hours post training because what ice does it removes inflammation, right?
Yeah.
But when you train, you are trying to create inflammation in the muscle because what's my favorite saying, Georgia?
Stress and stimuli make the muscle grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, he's gonna ask me here. I gotta remember this.
Yeah, and what stresses the muscle? Inflammation.
Okay. Oh,
So
how funny.
if you get into an ice bath immediately post training, you're removing that
Yeah.
inflammation, which is removing the stress, which means your muscle does not grow as much or as effectively.
So when would you want to use it though?
Uh, Somewhere between 2 to 4 hours post training.
Or if you're like me and have a
Anywhere
bunch
after that.
of
Yeah.
yeah, you have a bunch of inflammation, it's great for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have these big buckets from our wedding that we kept all of the beers and stuff in. And I was so tempted to fill it up with ice one day and just sit in it for my hip. But anyway, quick one, pre-run activation exercises.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. Can't go without them, guys. Got to
A
do them.
skips, B skips, get into them.
Yeah, got to do it. Okay, caffeine running gels. Not just running gels, but ones with caffeine in them.
Yeah, but I'm a caffeine fiend, so absolutely.
Says the guy who tells me I can't have pre-workout, but okay.
No, do we need
No,
to get into this, Georgia?
We don't. Okay, electrolyte powders.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Addicted to. I'm actually drinking some right now. Addicted to Hyro. Have you had it yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I got to get you some. It's so good, and it. You know, how some of them are a little bit fizzy, and they're a bit. I don't know. They taste a bit like medicine, but this one just tastes like cordial, so it's really good.
Cool.
Love it. A liquid carbohydrate drink, so like your Morton mix, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
See,
a big
I don't rate
Powerade
them.
guy.
Don't rate it.
Why?
The Morton ones, they're so
I
thick.
no, I don't like Morton, but like Powerade's a carbohydrate drink.
Okay, well that's.
Gatorade, like Coke is a carbohydrate drink. Like
Oh my god. You know that's not what I meant. I mean
Yeah,
like
but-
those really
like,
thick
just-
ones.
yeah, well, you didn't say really thick ones.
Okay.
No, I do not
So,
like
like,
the Morton one. But like Precision
not-
Fuel and Hydration, I love that. Like that's a great product.
Okay, so that's what I mean. Like the ones that have like a bunch of carbs in them, not the ones like a Powerade that has less.
I mean, but I make Powerade with 100 grams of carbs in a bottle.
How? Just double scoop?
Yeah, you just buy the powder, and every scoop is 14 grams of carbs.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. All right, you win.
Yeah,
Salt tablets.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Matt always says that, especially for races if you can't get the electrolytes in, salt tabs. Salt tabs. Having a protein shake after a run.
I'm just a fan of. I know,
Protein
and
in
the majority of our listeners are female, so I would say I'm just a fan of you guys getting protein in as often as you can, whenever
Yeah.
you can. So pre-workout, post-workout,
you know what?
however you guys can get it in, get it in.
As a female, not sure if you noticed,
News to me.
I have been trying to get so much more protein in, and I struggle because I can't have dairy. So I've only just found Macro Mike, which has been an awesome brand. It's vegan, all that kind of stuff. But I have just recently started having protein shakes after runs and love it. So that's why I put this one in there, because I was like, I think that's something I've been doing, but I wanted to ask if that was actually the right time to have one after a
Yeah, the
run.
whole anabolic window nonsense is just like there is no science behind it. It was just a marketing ploy. So as long as you have adequate protein day in, day out, there is a compounding effect. So, yeah.
Okay, perfect. This one's going to make you laugh. Pre-run coffee or caffeine? It's
Yeah.
nuanced.
It is, but... Well, no. So the difference between caffeine and pre-workout is pre-workout has other additives in it, like beta-alanine, which are designed to raise your heart rate. caffeine does raise your heart rate, but it does it in a natural way. So there is a difference between coffee and tea and pre-workout.
Yeah, although I don't have a pre-workout with beta-alanine in it because that stuff makes me feel really jittery.
Yeah, the stuff that gives you the tingling. Yeah, but they're designed so like all supplements that are designed to give you a stimulant or give you a stimulus, excuse me, put something in it so when you take it you feel it, so you go, this is working. Like that's how supplements are developed. So those
tricky.
And sometimes those things are like vasodilators, which raise heart rate, beta alanine, which makes you tingly, which raises your heart rate. Like some of them are designed to make you sweat. So there is a difference between pre-workout and caffeine. But yes, I'm a big caffeine fan.
Yeah, same. I think it also, I've learnt over the years, it does depend on the run. If I'm just going for an easy run, I try not to have it. But if it is a hard session or like interval session, long run, I just try and time it better. And we spoke to one of our listeners the other day in the DMs about this. And it is important to time it correctly.
And this might actually interest you. Like I drink 5 to 6 double shot coffees a day. Like that's a normal day.
Okay, this does interest me because I feel like people are so judgmental about how much caffeine other people have. And for instance, I will have a pre-workout before a run, and then maybe 3 hours later, I'll get a coffee at work. And then at about lunchtime, I will have one of the cute looking Vs, like a pink V.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like people like so judgy, being like, how much caffeine have you had today? Or should you be...
The amount of caffeine doesn't matter. It's the timing of the caffeine. So like caffeine has a half-life. So like I have 5 or 6 coffees between 4 a.m. and 2 p.m.
Yeah.
And then I don't have any caffeine after 2 p.m. because I know come sort of 8, 9 o'clock it'll be fully out of my system. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, guys, we're not going to tell you that you can go and have as much coffee as you want. Obviously, that's just use your head. But I want to know, like, I want a study that's like, you can have caffeine, it's not going to hurt you. Like, just
there's heaps of studies out there.
Yeah, but like, I feel like they're all so contradictory. Some are like, coffee's really bad for you. Then it's like, coffee's really good for you. And I'm like, someone just tell me.
It's fine.
Okay.
That's true. But I was going to say, about a month out from my race, I go cold turkey on all caffeine.
Why?
So when I have it on race day, it actually works. So I'm so immune to it.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that.
I could have 3 double shot espressos first thing in the morning, and I'll be like, I could go back to bed.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that with a coffee. I think because it's warm, I could have a coffee and then just go for a nap.
Yeah, so I actually go. Yeah, I go full. I don't wean myself off. I go full cold turkey, get the shakes and everything, and then get the really bad headaches, and then on race day, I load myself up until I start vibrating, and then we're good to go.
Okay, amazing. Running with real food versus gels.
Depends on how fast you run and how far.
And if you're doing a trail run or a road run.
Yeah, well, they sort of fall into the same thing. But like, if you are a higher performance athlete, you are someone who is chasing a specific time, and that time is probably, and we'll use the marathon as an example, and you're someone who's probably going to try and go under 4 hours. Having real food is kind of irrelevant because by the time your body breaks it down and gets into your blood, it's too late. You've already run out of glycogen. Yeah, so you need that fast stuff. If you are someone who is going to be over 4 hours, you can afford to have things like muesli bars, snakes, lollies, etc.
Roast dinner.
You can stop and have a sandwich if you like, mate. Roast dinner,
lamb sangers at the pub.
Mate, why not?
What do you prefer? Do you prefer gels or real food? Quote unquote real food, sorry.
When I'm racing?
No, just like on a super long run. What would you prefer?
I try and eat as much real food as I can during training, unless it's a race simulation, and then I will strictly have gels.
Interesting. Okay.
I try and incorporate. So back to the protein thing. I actually try and incorporate quite a lot of protein
in your run
into run and ride. Yeah. So I'll deliberately pick like muesli bars that have higher protein content and things.
Oh, okay. Still okay. So it's still processed real food.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm not having a steak sandwich like.
I was going to say, whipping out a boiled potato, if you guys remember that episode.
Just hard-boiled eggs, just munching them down.
Oh, imagine the smell. Oh, dear. AI training plan apps. No comment from Matt. Moving on.
They're about as dumb as running socks.
Using a metronome to fix your cadence.
I would be interested to. So this is some things people do. They go, my cadence is not the same as someone else, or this person on Instagram said your cadence needs to be this.
Yeah.
Based on what? Like, if you look at, I am
my
going to run.
Cadence needs to be 180.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the number, right? That's the golden number, 180.
It is.
My 3:30 marathon pace, I run at a 167.
Interesting.
I will not change my cadence. I don't need to run I can run significantly quicker without changing my cadence.
Yeah, I think mine's like on average like 180. 170.
Yeah, yours is about 174.
Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. Yeah, but whatever. Everyone's is different, and I find it so interesting that people think 180 is the magic number.
Like it is I mean, if you're running at 120, okay, like there is a significant gulf. But if you are a 160 to 200 runner, like, okay, like
if you have a low cadence, is that an indication that you're overstriding?
Not always. You just could have a lot of foot contact time. Like, there's a whole bunch of different things.
Right. Okay, cool. All right. Last couple of things. Running on the treadmill. Hate it, love it.
Great for interval sessions, great for recovery, great for coming back from an injury. So I am pro treadmill run, excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pro treadmill running. I would not rely on it as a foundational part of my training.
Yeah.
Though.
And if you're one of those people who doesn't like running in the rain, suck it up. Go run in the rain.
It's not real running because all you're doing is lifting your feet.
Yeah,
You're not actually propelling yourself forward.
I try and avoid it at all costs unless it's really like bucketing down or I'm injured. I avoid it.
It's great for speed work. That'd be the only thing for like someone who's not coming back from injury is like you can set it to whatever pace and you literally has a timer in front of you and you can run at that pace and understand what it feels like.
Is it though? Like, is it really the same pace? Because I feel like it's not.
Neuromuscular.
I feel like it's so much easier.
From a neuromuscular standpoint, it is the same. However, the physical exertion is not.
Okay, right.
So that means your body understands how fast it needs to move to run at that pace without actually having to run at that pace.
Yeah. Okay. Last couple: trail running versus road running. I know your answer.
Is this like got to pick one for the rest of my life?
Sure, why not? Like, entertain us.
Trail running, it's not even. I don't even have to think about
it. See, I'd still pick road running. I don't know why.
It's because you live in the city.
Yeah, not necessarily on the road. I mean, it's silly, but running on a path in the park, I'd choose that. I don't know.
My favorite thing to do in the off season, when I don't have to bike and stuff, is I will put my running vest on and I will just be like, I'm going to go 3 hours that way.
See, could not think of anything worse. I'm like snakes, tripping and falling over, falling off a cliff, getting lost. Nah.
Yeah, see, all that stuff I love. Like if I see a snake midway on the run, I'm like, I'm going to try and get a photo of this bad boy and then I'll just follow him for 15 minutes.
Great for the ADHD. That is just entertaining you.
He might be having a freaking whale of a time. I don't know. Well, no one wants to follow him.
I can just imagine you being like, snake, just following the snake.
Yeah, I do that. That was the other day. I was running around home, and there's a whole bunch of construction sites, and there was this big red belly black snake sunning himself out on the gutter, and he saw me and ducked into this building site, and I jumped the fence, and I was like, "Where'd you go, you little fuck?"
That was the most Australian. That was the most Australian sentence you've ever said in your entire life.
What was that?
That was just so Australian what you just said. There was
Thank
a
you.
red belly black snake sunning himself on the gutter.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it just cracked me up. Anyway, sorry about that.
No worries, mate.
Just cracked me up. I don't know. I just think trail running is just too many variables for me. I hate having to look down when I run, and I'm worried I'm going to trip over all the time.
Nah, you'd be right.
I do enjoy it, but it's just not for me. And that's why
It's the
everyone's
best.
different.
I want
That's
to
what
do
I
a
want.
performance project, last man standing team ultra marathon thing.
Oh my God, don't. I will not be there. I'll hand out oranges.
So you have to be there to hand out the oranges.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be there to run.
Yeah. We're going to get you there.
Like
You've
that
come all that
backyard
way.
ultra. No.
We'll go out to the Blue Mountains. It'll be great.
All right, last one. Rest day versus active recovery.
There's a place for both. I think the majority of people don't train hard enough to warrant actual rest days.
Oh, okay. So, like, what you think people should still be going out? What would you consider active recovery?
Like your Monday, 1 hour easy with a heart rate goal. That's active recovery. That is not a rest day. Like,
Really? I
Yeah.
hate those Monday runs. They're so hard.
well, yeah, because when do we do it? On Monday, the day after your long run, where you've just
Yeah.
flogged yourself. Yeah,
And they're always called Never Miss a Monday. And
never
I
miss a
always
Monday.
go,
Yeah.
Can't let Matt down. I have to go.
Like in Ironman prep, a day where we have a swim in the morning and like a 90-minute easy bike ride, like that is a recovery day.
Wow.
There are no rest days in prep for me. Like there is no day off. There is just less.
Yeah, see, I just have one day off. It's Saturdays. That's it.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the future, I'd probably want to chuck in a swim on a Saturday.
Yeah, but like that's just we don't need to pull that lever at the moment. Like I
No.
think people have in their head that they're like, if I train 6 days, I need a rest day. I'm like, no, you don't. You just don't know how to moderate intensity correctly, because everyone just trains as hard as they can,
Yeah.
and like that's not always the best thing to do. Like you need to moderate intensity.
Love that. Well, that's a great one to
Yeah.
finish on. Was there any more you wanted to add in, Matt?
There was a couple that you missed that I thought was just funny. Recovery sandals slash slides.
Oh, I meant to say that one. I must have just forgotten it. Thoughts?
Dumb, super dumb. I bet people fucking wear their running socks with them too. Idiots.
Me on Saturday.
Legit, yeah. They wear their running socks and their fucking Hoka recovery
Literally.
slides.
No, mine are called UFOs.
Show me the person with too much money or has a big Instagram following right there. It's so funny, right? At Ironman. At Ironman, they are everywhere. Like everyone's walk around the village in either like super jacked up Hokas or like the recovery slides, and I'll either walk around in thongs or steel cap boots, and everyone looks at me and goes, "What the fuck are you wearing?" I'm like, "These are the comfiest shoes I own." They're like, "But your feet are going to be sore for Ironman." I'm like, "Fuck off, idiot!"
Steel cap boots.
I wear them everywhere. Yeah.
You're a weirdo. Okay, what else did I
Why
miss?
is that? Hold on, why is that weird?
You're wearing steel cap boots around the village.
I just wear my work boots everywhere.
Okay, fair enough. Don't you just
I wear
get
them out
like...
to dinner. I wear them.
You don't have
boots.
Birkenstocks or something?
No, I'm a male.
Don't tell Nick Whitehead that. My
Probably why he did his
husband loves them. Okay, was there anything else I missed?
Dave and his. Anyone who wears Crocs, no.
Oh no, that's criminal.
Yeah, Dave, fuck you.
Okay. Wow.
That's an inside performance project joke because I know he's listening to this podcast right now.
Hi, Dave. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Oh dear. Okay.
it's
I don't
a very
think there was any
specific
others.
Dave. That is not to all Daves, by the way. Any other Daves out there, you do what you got to do, mate.
Oh dear. All right. I reckon that's about it. I am going to go get on a plane and go to Europe and not talk to Matt for a while. Just
Yay.
kidding. amazing. Yay for you. Gonna miss you and can't wait to run London Marathon in 8 days, 9 days or something. Yeah, can't wait to recap it for you guys.
Yeah,
can't wait to recap it for you, Coach Matt. I'm sure you're so excited to hear all about it.
Not particularly.
No.
I mean, I've been to London. I know the course. You're not training for a certain goal, so
No,
it's
he's
just
not
like,
excited.
I just hope you have a good time and it is everything that you want it to be. That's what I care about. I do not care about the run itself.
And you care that I'm not running under 6 minutes. You want me to run it easy.
I mean, if you go out and run, try and run a hard marathon, like you're experienced enough and we've worked together long enough that you know the long-term damage that you were doing towards your actual goals. So if you make that bed, you got to lay in it. There's nothing I can do about that.
The markers of a good coach, my friends.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. As always, jump over to Instagram, follow us on Beyond the Finish Line _pod. Jump over to YouTube, follow us there. Why not? Send this to your friends. Put it on your stories. Tag us in your runs. Say hi. We love it. Jump in the DMs. Anything else to add, Matt?
Hooroo.
Hooroo. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.